Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me pleasure to introduce to you Sean Coetzee. He's from Motors, and he's a young man with a lot of knowledge, and I believe he's going to give us a good, informative presentation on DFI, diesel fuel injection. And he's also well-versed. Sir, thank you so much. Enjoy.
Good morning, guys. My name is Sean Coetzee from Motors Parts Incorporated. National Technical Specialist for the diesel fuel injection division of our business. I've been in the industry for going on 14 years now as a diesel fuel injection technician. So, yeah, that's where I come from. I'm speaking to you guys today about, and it's really going to mainly be on diesel fuel injection testing equipment, but it pretty much should go across all forms of equipment that need to be calibrated and audited. So I'll be talking about test bench auditing and maintenance. There's something that I've seen now working for Parts Incorporated as a Hartridge audit technician and support engineer in South Africa. It is something that is sometimes overlooked and neglected. And this is a big problem for me. And it's a big problem for a lot of my customers, creating downtime because of something so simple. So as an overview, and I'm just going to touch on these topics as we go along, your test equipment in any workshop or any environment should be seen as an investment. You're spending the equivalent on some of this equipment as what you would be spending on a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, R1 million plus. And you take that car for a service every 15,000 or 10,000 kilometers. So why wouldn't you do it to your investment in your workshop that is actually producing or creating money and business for you? So it's very important, and it's something I think it's a great way of looking at it. And yeah, it's really if that test bench goes down, you're not making money for that day or for the week or however long it takes to get the part in to fix that test bench. And a lot of these test benches like Bosch and Hartridge are not manufactured in South Africa, so everything comes from overseas. The importance of scheduled maintenance on these test benches, like I said, if you've got a Ferrari, a BMW, a Mercedes-Benz, you're taking that car for a service every 15,000 kilometers because the dealership tells you to. And it's not just for warranty purposes, but it's to make sure that that vehicle outlasts us. Any form of machinery is actually designed to outlast a human life, but only with the correct maintenance and care. So scheduled maintenance, and again, it doesn't matter which test bench you have, whether it be Bosch, Hartridge, Mac Test, any of these brands, every single manual, every single test bench's manual will give you an indication of when that bench needs to be serviced and maintained and how to do so. Coming from Motors, we are the Hartridge and Delphi representatives in South Africa, and we've invested a lot of money in terms of making sure that I, for one, am perfectly and well-trained with current test benches provided by Hartridge, all the way up to auditory conditions. So I can do from the oldest current test bench is the AVM 2PC to the new current Hartridge Toledo test bench, which does your Huey injectors. We've also invested a lot of money in the correct tooling, the correct spares that we now carry, and it allows us to carry out our jobs more efficiently and create less downtime for our customers. The main reason audits are overlooked in terms of pump rooms, especially from my experience, is that it's seen as an unnecessary cost. However, in most cases, it is a very necessary cost. It should be budgeted for every financial year, as it is required once a year from all manufacturers for that equipment to be audited. And that's mainly the main reason I've seen. And a lot of guys also, why it's also overlooked is if we look at our older test benches, there was a lot of mechanical gauges and mechanical test tubes on there. You could see if there was something wrong with it. With our newer test benches, everything has gone digital. You won't be able to tell you with the naked eye if there's something wrong. You have to rely on a computer to tell you that. And this is what leads me on to my next point about why we do audits and why it's so important. Nowadays, everything is measured digitally, mainly because it's more accurate. We can measure 0.001 of a millimeter or of a milliliter. And again, with the naked eye, this is nearly impossible to see. So we rely on digital interfaces to tell us this, and digital interfaces also used to eliminate human error. we can record everything through digital means, and that way we can't lie to our end user as to what's wrong with it. Now, the other important part here is if a test bench is not audited, for argument's sake, or any piece of equipment really in your workshop, if it's not audited and taken care of correctly, you're effectively, if there's something wrong and you don't know it, could be producing a substandard product because you wouldn't see that the test benches or the pump that you're busy calibrating is under fueling, for argument's sake. So this is why audits are so important and why I don't recommend it. I insist that these be carried out and taken quite seriously. And guys, I kept this short and sweet for a reason. There's not much really else for me to discuss regarding this matter. We will be here the whole day, so if anyone has any discussions or any questions, come through and look for us and we'll help you guys out. Thank you very much. Cheers.
So, I've promised you, he's a well-versed young man and a man of the future, of course. He's still got a lot of energy in him. And as you can hear, audits are important, so it's not a maybe or a recommendation, it's he insisted. So please take that as very important. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
See you again.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our third speaker, Mr. Vincent Vallette. He's all the way from France, and I believe that's the language of romance, huh? French.
I do my best.
You do your best, all right. Vincent Vallette is from Mali. He was also here in 2017, and he also gave us a very good presentation about the future of the internal combustion engine, and I look forward to his presentation now. He did mention he's going to touch on the topic of CO2 emissions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So first of all, yes, good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say thank you to RMI for this warm welcome, because it gave us the opportunity to talk to you, to exchange. So thank you very much. So I'm sorry, because I prepared a long presentation, so I will have to go quickly from one slide to another. Okay, so I do apologize, but I will need maybe 2 or even 3 hours to talk about our different projects. So let's start with the Mali organization. Just for your information, Mali is a foundation, which means we have no shareholders. And our main topics, we focus on healthcare, we focus on different projects, and especially very specific project for biodynamic agriculture, for instance. We have 150 non-profit projects all over the world. Just a small history about Mali. We start with piston. We are well known as piston manufacturers all over the world. We start in 1920, as you can see. But step by step, we move and we try to follow the new trends. So we start with aluminum piston. Step by step, we bought new companies such as Bayer, which means now we become really thermal management specialists, which is a key issue for the future for all of us, whatever the engine. If we're talking about ICE engine or electrical engine, thermal management, you will see later on, is very important, is a key issue. And step by step, we have to switch to the new trend, which means we have decided to combine ICE and electrical, and we bought Letrica, which is a mechatronics company. Recently, we bought part of Delphi, especially because we didn't have at that time AC compressors. So now we have a full range of thermal management components. In 2017, we bought Nagares in Spain. Maybe some of you know this company. They are specialists of electronic components such as relays, but they are really specialists to monitor electrical engine. In 2020, we will be able to deliver a complete range of thermal management components. And last year, we bought a company, Bremby, in Italy. I guess this brand is well known in South Africa, just to have a complete offer for the workshop. Okay, so now Male become what we call a solution provider. We were till now more a spare parts supplier. We want to become really a service provider for the workshop, starting from the beginning. Okay, we're looking about customer satisfaction. So it's very important for us to deal with every single workshop all over the world. So we start with vehicle identification, diagnostic, because now we have access to diagnostic tools, thanks to Bremby, repair, maintenance, and we can supply the spare parts. So we have to go a little bit quickly now. So what's going on now? You know the story. I don't want to spend time on this feature, but the main goal is to reduce CO2. It's not new. We were talking about this matter 2 years ago. We are still working a lot to improve our components to reduce CO2 emission. So the target in 2020 will be 95 grams per kilo in Europe. In US, they are a little bit late, thanks to our friend Trump. Okay, so they will reach only 143. Okay, it's a pity because all of us will have to make some efforts to reach the target. Okay, the main goal by 2100 will be 2 degrees. And according to a recent study, I heard something two days ago from France. They said that it will be very difficult to reach this target by 2100. And the projection is maybe between 6.5 to 7 degrees. Okay, which means we have to find a way to reduce and to reach this target. Otherwise, it will be a disaster for all of us. Think about our children in the future. So the target will be difficult to achieve, but it's time to react, and we can do something, either with, as you said before, with ICE, internal combustion engine, or electrical stuff. So we were talking during the first presentation about electrical engine, but we have different ways to achieve this target. Alternative fuel, you were talking about hydrogen, you were talking about compressed natural gas, electric drive, mild hybridization, plug-in hybridization. So we have different ways to reach the target. So, Frank, you told us that in South Africa we have 12.5 million vehicles. The car population in the world is more than 1 billion, is 1,150 million vehicles in the world. And if you can see the projection, we are talking about the year 2030. Most of the vehicle will be IC, internal combustion engine. You have few, what we call BEV, electrical vehicle, plug-in and full hybrid vehicle. But IC, as you can see, the blue, will stay the main portion, will keep the main portion till 2030, which means the potential is still there, and I fully agree with Frank. Don't worry about the future. We have a lot to do together, taking care about IC, internal combustion engine. Okay, this is what we call the Male dual strategy. What is our dual strategy? We still focus on IC engine, as you can see, highly efficient combustion engine. We have a lot to do to improve an internal combustion engine. We focus on growth markets, such as South African market. We focus on heavy-duty application, which is the future. Also, aftermarket. Even if, for your information, aftermarket within Male organization means 8% of total turnover. 92% of the turnover is OE business. But we really focus on aftermarket because, first of all, it's a profitable business and it opens many doors on a daily basis. So we still focus and we still to strengthen the current business. But at the same time, we have to think about the future and about the near future, about tomorrow. So there is let's say, a border between today and tomorrow. And now we focus on electrical auxiliaries, such as electrical oil pump, electrical water pump. Also, we focus on thermal management powertrain, which is a key issue, and thermal management cabin inside the car. so in the engine, inside the car. And we can save a lot of fuel if you manage properly management, powertrain management, and thermal management cabin. But of course, we have to think about the future right now. We have to be ready for the future. And we have decided to study all possibilities of electrical vehicle, such as electric drive, new business activity. Recently, we have started with a new with a startup, and we focus on power electronics. So this is what we call the Mahle dual strategy. So once again, just to show you the picture, this to strengthen our existing market position, but also to focus on HVAC, heating, ventilation, air condition, and we have a lot to say on this matter. Thermal management, electric auxiliaries, new project, and electric drive, and power electronics. I was telling you that 92% of our business is OE business, but we have a close relationship between OE and aftermarket, which means as soon as we have new equipment from the OE side, we can have access immediately. So you people, in the future, if we launch new project, aftermarket will be linked with OE people within Mahle organization, which is very good. So we can share and we can improve together. So as you can see, ICE, we put it at the first position, at the top, which means ICE for us is still our core business. And we trust in the future about ICE issues. Then you have BEV, so electrical vehicle, we think about it. Clean fuel, we'll talk about this matter later on, and hydrogen. For the time being, Mahle is more than piston. We are well known all over the world, even in South Africa, about piston. Mahle's piston is not only piston today. Engine parts, only 22% of our business for the time being. But we focus, as I told you before, about thermal management. 35% of our business is thermal management. Okay, different step. In 2009, even before 2007, we present our new concept, new engine, 3-cylinder engine in Frankfurt. In 2013, we launched the steel piston for diesel applications. And in 2015, maybe some of you know this car, the Renault Twizy is still powered by a Mahle engine, because remember, we bought Letrica in Slovenia, specialists of electrical stuff, though we use this electrical engine to power the Renault Twizy in 2015. Okay, this slide is very important. Roadmap of the future within Mahle organization. So, first of all, optimize IC. Friction reduce engine components. Unfortunately, today we don't have time to go deeper, but I can give you two examples. When we're still working on piston rings, we have a lot to save to reduce friction piston rings by reducing the height of the piston rings, new coating, new shape, and we have a lot to save. We focus also on CNG. You were talking about this matter before, compressed natural gas. So we need specific components for such engine. Liquid management modules, compressor, and also a climate system R744, which is a purely ecological gas. Let's switch to hybrid. So we're talking IC, internal combustion engine, hybrid. E-compressor, we can supply e-compressor, battery cooling, which is a very, very important task. You have to cool the battery properly, and 48-volt drive system. And then alternative drive, quick charge, heat pump. Heat pump is really very important. Intake and exhaust systems for fuel cell vehicles. So as you can see, we cover the whole need for the near future. So combustion engine potential, as I was telling you, modern internal combustion engines still have a lot of potential of improvement. Engine components. So I was talking about piston rings, specific coatings for bearings, even for rings. Steel piston, we are still working a lot on steel piston because we have to increase the capacity of cooling. Very soon we will use sodium cooling system for the top of the piston. Thermal management system, turbocharging, of course, intercooling. So I'm still not finished in development. We're still working on it. Which means there is still a big potential for you in the future. I like this because the main target is to reduce CO2 emission. So combustion engine, we are working on combustion engine and electro for the time being. And we need specific components to increase the capacity of the combustion engine and to reduce CO2. So I like this one. This one summarizes our current strategy, Vallette strategy. It's very clear. I used it 2 years ago, but it's still valid today. Okay, friction reduction, downsizing engine, thermal management, electrification. These are the different steps in the near future. So unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about piston rings in details, but we are working a lot on piston rings, just for information. Okay, let's talk about one solution, new solution, Vallette e-waste heat recovery. We call it WHR, we call it the boost box. Today, we have to reach a target, as we saw before, 30% reduction CO2 by 2030. We were talking about car population. In 2030, you will have 3.8 million commercial vehicles, heavy duty, in the road. And 80% of commercial vehicles will still be equipped with ICE engine. Can you imagine? We're talking about 2030. So today we are still focusing on combustion engine, even if we are talking about electrification in the future. So we have developed a specific solution to increase the efficiency of the combustion engine. This technology is not unknown. Everybody knows about the technology, but no one took a risk to launch this new project. We did it. So why? Because we think it's one of the best way to save money, to save CO2 first of all, and to save money. It's a very economic way for you people. So more ways to improve transport using existing technology, and more ways to meet statutory emission regulations. So we have Vallette, we have packaged in one box. This is the famous boost box. So what does it mean? As you know, 30% of the energy is lost. The main target is to harvest. We harvest this energy, we use it to increase the power of the engine, to use it as electricity, which means we can save up to 5% of fuel. Quick installation, plug-and-play system, easy integration in a truck, because we're talking about trucks application, retrofit solution, which means we can put it on an old vehicle population, fully integrated hybrid system, and we have tested under all conditions. Just briefly how it works. Okay, so we use the exhaust number 1 from the engine. So the exhaust passes through the evaporator number 2. The exhaust gas vaporized, and it creates a working medium to the number 3 axial piston. This axial piston number 4 drives a generator, which means from exhaust to electricity. Then from number 4, from the axial piston expander, gas go to 5 to the condenser. It becomes exhaust steam, and then you will get a liquid again. Thanks to the feed pump number 6, it's pressurized again, and it will become gas again. So it's really a cycle. So we use exhaust to create electricity. which means at the end of the day, we can gain plus, let's say, 18 horsepower. We save 6 tons CO2 per year, which means it's equivalent to 500 trees. So it's a huge step to save and to achieve the target. Compatible with all current models, you can take a truck, even an old truck, a Volvo truck, you can fix this boost box in the truck. And it's not so heavy. We're talking about 150 kg. Okay, it's even compared to the fuel tank, it's nothing. And even in the future, we intend to reduce the size of this boost box. So we are still working on it to improve. At the end of the day, as I was telling you, we can save 5% fuel, and even more in the future. So we have different concepts. Malay Innovation. We have one Malay powertrain organization based in Northampton, UK. 500 people work there, 500 engineers, because we are total Malay, we are 76,000 people all over the world. We have 6,000 engineers working all over the world. 500 of them are based in UK, and they work on the future. So we have different alternatives. We still work on extreme downsizing, range extender, alternative fuel concept, hybridization, and electric car. So these are four projects from us. The first one is downsizing. We're talking about 100 kilowatt per liter. Second one, range extender. The third one, is a 160 kilowatt per liter downsizing engine. And the fourth one is a through-the-road parallel hybrid. It's a mixture of IC and electricity. So let's take an example. This Audi 2.4 V6 with naturally aspirated engine. We're talking about 130 kilowatts. And the consumption, as an average, is less than 10 liters per kilometer, 9.7. But CO2 emission, we're talking about 230 grams, which is very high. Don't forget the target in Europe is 95. So we have to go from 233, to 95. So we have to find a way. This is the Malay answer, what we call downsizing. As I was telling you before, we start 2007. We make the first presentation during Automechanica in Frankfurt. We put our engine in a Passat station wagon. And at that time, so the power was almost 200 horsepower for 1.2 liter engine, 3 cylinders. Today, we are still working on this project, and we improve on a daily basis. So we use what we call the Malay flexible ECU, which is a key component to adjust the engine according to the needs. And at the time, at the beginning, it was only 135 gram per kilometer. This is the first version. Can you imagine? Now, 12 years ago, now we are still working on it, and we achieve very good results. So downsizing, of course, it's not new, but just to remind you, we're talking about lower fuel consumption, which means lower emissions. Packaging, you have a small engine, which means more space for passengers in the car. Reduced numbers of parts in the engine, but, which is very important, and important for you guys, higher strength and forces to the materials, which means you will have to repair maybe more often this type of engine, which means there is a potential for you. And engines will become more complex. Don't forget the new components, new piston rings, new coating, and so on. So we have to be ready for this type of engine. In 2025, so very soon, according to our forecast, 54% of the engine between 1 liter to 1.9 liters. Today, the trend is 49. So more and more will switch to small engine. So, as I was telling you, ICEs can be combined with other technologies and drive concepts, such as Male downsizing with e-turbochargers. So we use the same engine, the Male downsizing engine, 100% made by Male. And for your information, it's not for sale for the time being, but some people ask, from Iran, for instance, they ask for our engine, they would like to buy this engine, but it's not for sale for the time being. It's just to show that you can make a full engine, Male full engine, including 2 turbochargers, because this is the only way to reach such power with 2 turbochargers. And it's not for sale for the time being, just for laboratory, let's say, for study. So this car, thanks to what we call the e-turbocharger. So we put this e-turbocharger in addition to the existing turbocharger. So we can reach the same performance as a 2-liter engine. We're talking about 260 horsepower for such engine. So we took an old GTI car, 2 liters, we removed the engine, we put our engine, Male engine, with we kept the existing turbochargers, and we had e-turbochargers. So this electric turbocharger is known in series production. You have Audi SQ7, for instance, and the Mercedes CLS 53 is equipped with such equipment. Male range extender. Now we're talking about small engine, less than 1 liter, 0.9 liters, and the power is, let's say, 40 horsepower, roughly speaking. And we have a Male flexible ECU. We manage not only the engine, but also the body. When I talk about the body, it means we're talking about the HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, because you have a lot to gain if you manage this HVAC. So we can reach now less than 45. Remember the target is 95. Thanks to this range extender, we can reach 45. And the range is 70 kilometers with pure electric range. But combine engine, IC engine plus electrical engine, we can reach 500 kilometers, which is enough when we drive in a city, for instance. You don't need more. So combustion engine is used as a generator to charge battery. It's linked to the battery. The IC engine, in fact, recharges the battery. It's not directly linked to the powertrain through the gearbox. Okay, so you have different concepts. The range extender is a hybrid electrical vehicle with IC as a range expander. You have different concepts, and this one, according to us, is one of the solutions. So we are still talking about IC engine, as you can see. So range extender, additional power for electricity-driven vehicle, only starts when needed, which is a big advantage. Much smaller and cheaper battery design. Can you imagine, today, for trucks, for instance, you have to put more than 200 kilo batteries. So thanks to this engine, you can save the weight, you can reduce the weight, and you can reduce CO2 at the end of the day. Okay, some information. We're talking about only 70 kg, very small engine. And you can put in different positions in the car, which is very convenient for the engineers, because sometimes they have to think about how to fix the engine in the car. This one, you can put it at a variable angle, 0 degree to 90 degrees. It's not a problem, so you can manage. So the torque is 72 Newton meter, and the power, I remind you, is 40 horsepower. So you were talking about, IT was talking about BMW i3, and is also already equipped with range extender. The Chevrolet Volt also. So they have a 135 kilowatt electrical engine with a 0.65 IC engine, internal combustion engine. So you can use a battery as an electrical car. If you have no more power, the small engine will start, and you can go home easily. Just for information, this big truck uses the same principle. Yes, yeah. 800 tons vehicle, and this is exactly with a range extender, the same principle. So what you can say for such truck, transmission powertrain is very easy to maintain because you have electrical engine on the rear wheel of the truck. So they use exactly the same thing. Okay, we were talking about CNG before, so we are working on it too. Compressed natural gas on this Touran. We still use the same engine, the 1.2 liters, but with compressed natural gas. The reduction of CO2 is minus 31. Once again, we use specific Mahle flexible ECU. And the compression increase, you can see from 10 to 13.3, which is very big. But what are the advantages? 20% less carbon dioxide, which is good. No particulate matters. I'm talking about NOx emission, which are very critical. No more. The engine itself is more efficient. Higher octane rating, which means you don't need full throttle enrichment. No need at all. But, and we have constraint to higher temperature inside the engine. Dry condition, higher material stress, which means we have to think about new engine components for the future. If we want to adapt the car, the engine, for compressed natural gas. So we have to work a lot on engine components. And you need larger volume of gas. You need bigger tank, of course. This is one of the disadvantages. Synthetic fuel. So recently, you can go to Mahle YouTube. You will see a movie regarding the partnership between Mahle and Porsche. And we made some tests with the Porsche 911, the well-known 911, and we use synthetic fuel. So as I wrote, this is a new chance for CO2 neutral mobility. So how it works? It's very easy. We use synthetic fuel. It's obtained from regenerative energy, process of electrolysis, and with water, you can get hydrogen. But we will use the CO2 greenhouse gas to produce a liquid fuel. So the CO2 cycle is closed. Okay, so we make several tests, test on chassis dynamometer, and even on the road test with Porsche people. And according to the specialist, we have a specific driver for road test in Porsche organization, and they say there is no difference. They didn't know that we put synthetic fuel inside the car. They didn't realize, no difference at all. Just for information, we are based, Mahle is based in Stuttgart and Porsche is based in Stuttgart. So we have a very close relationship with these people. E-fuel, so we were talking about higher constraint in the engine, which is true. So we have to learn about this new fuel, and we are working on it. How to adapt our engine component on the new fuel. We are making some tests, because we are still talking about the current car population. So Mahle is thinking about it, how to use the new synthetic fuel in the current car population. Okay, let's go. So parallel hybrid. Here you have 3 individual drive modes. So electric at the back and ICE at the front. And the combined range is, let's say now even more, let's say we're talking about 1,000 kilometers, which is enough to reach, not Cape Town, but enough to go around and to visit South Africa. Acceleration reduced from 14 seconds to 7 divided by 2. As you know, electric power is very powerful and you can get very nice acceleration. You can gain also 10% higher to speed. And once again, CO2 from 150, let's say, to less than 440, which is a big improvement. And pure electricity range, you can run 50 kilometers. For instance, if you are downtown, you can run, you can buy, you can go to supermarket. 50 kilometers is enough. And then you can use the IC engine at the front to go elsewhere. Okay, battery. Battery, we have the same need. Battery has similar requirements like human being. Okay? Cold weather, average temperature, and hot weather. Why? So, which means at the end of the day, we have to manage temperature. We were talking about thermal management for internal combustion engine. We are talking about thermal management also for battery. It's really a key issue. Let's go quickly. So what are the limits today for batteries? Let's take two examples. Heavy duty. Once again, heavy duties is part of our strategy. So we really focus on heavy duty. So take the Fuso Canter. The weight of the battery, let's say 700 kg, almost. Capacity is 83 kilowatt. And the range, at the end of the day, is only 100 kilometers. This one is a medium heavy duty, but 100 kilometers is nothing. Actros, the battery, they need 11 packs of battery. Weight is 2.2 tons. The range is only 200. If you make calculation, if you want to reach 1,000 kilometers, okay, you will need what? More than 10 tons battery on your truck. Can you imagine? 10 tons to reach 1,000 kilometers. So we have to find another way. So BEV in principle is possible, but big question mark for the time being. We have to look for different alternatives. Fuel cell drive. So long distance heavy load. So we can reach the target thanks to the fuel cell drive. We have very few models in the market for the time being. Mercedes, Honda, Toyota. And for the time being, we are involved for all these cars except for the Toyota. You can find on this car Mahle components on electrical vehicle. On fuel drive vehicle, sorry. Our forecast is in 2030, 1 million cell systems will be sold each year. This is our forecast. So for us, a fuel cell equals a battery, approximately. The major difference is that the fuel cell requires similar peripheral products than combustion engine. We can compare fuel cell and IC. I'm talking about thermal management mainly. So, which means we are ready, because we know how to manage thermal management for IC, so we can manage thermal management for a fuel cell vehicle. These are the main components we can deliver today for fuel cell: exhaust air system, hydrogen heater, fuel cell stack monitor, humidifier, and noxious gas filter, which is very important item. I saw during maybe IT's presentation this truck. Maybe all of you know about this truck. This is a new trend. The brand Nikola, because we work very closely with Nikola. They are based in US, in Phoenix, Arizona, and they have decided to develop fuel cell technology on their truck. So this model is Nikola 2. They have Nikola 1, Nikola 2, mainly for US market, big truck. And they're working on the new concept for Europe, Nikola 3, T-R-E, I guess it's from Norway. And very soon they will have a close collaboration with Iveco. And as far as I know, the Iveco are ready to put money, 250 million US or euro, I forgot, in this new startup. They start in 2014, and we start with them. We have a close relationship with them, and we already supply many components for this new trend. So we're talking about 1,000 horsepower, just 15 to 20 minutes to refill the tank. If you compare to battery, it's totally different. You need more time, of course. And you don't have time when you have a truck. You have to go here to this way, to different ways, you have to rush. So we have air conditioning and cooling system for all drive components, fuel cell, traction motor, power electronics, and battery. And air filtration is a key issue. And as Male is a specialist of filters, and not only air filters, also fuel filters, as you know, your oil filters, sorry. And we use our technology of cabin air filter to protect the fuel cell. We're talking almost about the same technology. We have different 5 layers specific air filtration. And if you compare to our latest cabin air filter, it's almost the same. Because what we have to do, we have to protect the fuel cell. Sorry. Especially, we're talking about NOx. So you have what we call irreversible damages and reversible influence. So thanks to these filters, you can prevent the harmful gas from entering inside the stack. So filtration is also very important for this new technology. Then MIT. What is MIT? MIT is Male Efficient Electrical Transport. So we have decided, as we did for the engine, the downsizing engine, we have decided to make our own electrical car to show that we can manage, especially for thermal management issue. So MIT, we think that in the future, 70% of the population will live in cities. In 2050, something like that, even before. So we're talking about urban mobility. So we try to launch this concept. We're talking about 220 kilowatt electrical engine with torque vectoring. The range is approximately 170 kilometers, and maximum speed is 100 kilometers per hour. And obviously, we have decided to switch to 48-volt system, which is the most common system. We don't use high voltage technology because, of course, it's dangerous and it costs more. 48 is more common, which means it's more, for us, it's more affordable. So just to summarize, the torque, I forgot to mention the torque, is 40 Newton meter, which is not so bad for such engine. We're talking 40 kilowatt. Acceleration, to give you an idea, is 80 kilometers in 10 seconds. Okay, I want to show something. Okay, thermoelectric pump, which is very important for such equipment. So the top priority for us is maximum efficiency, but with electrical engine, it's very difficult to manage. So it's a key issue for us because, for instance, internal management increase the cruising range by 5% in summer and by 50% in winter. So once again, thermal management is a key issue. And you need to charge up to one charge, you can last the whole week, let's say. Okay, just as we are focusing on electrical engine, this is a Male startup. We call it Charge Big. What is the idea behind? The idea is to create a specific place to recharge batteries. Independent of charging for e-vehicles, concept from companies, up to 36 charging points. You need one box to deliver power to 36 different places. So it's really a new concept for electrical vehicle. How it works? It's really integrated in the system. You can get power from solar energy, you can get power from the network, and if you have enough power in our box, okay, power can go directly back to the main industry, to houses and so on. So one box can manage 36 different places, which is new. For the time being, if you go, you have one box fully equipped, which means it's very expensive. And thanks to our system, it's more efficient and more economic. Okay, my charging. Summary. Is enough? Am I too long? It's okay, no? Ati? It's okay? Yes, because we have a lot to say, but try to go very quickly. So, as a summary, the combustion engine will remain the main drivetrain, please. This is the first point, okay? More than 90% of the car population will be ICE in the future. Even ships, planes will have combustion engine, as you mentioned, Frank, before. The number of mechanical components and parts will become less, but stress will be higher. So you, in the field, you will have a lot to do to repair, to fix the engine. The complexity of the powertrain is growing, even through the hybridizing. Start-stop is start of that, but now, remember, we're talking about boost system. They are growing. So there will be more electrical and electronic in the car. More diagnostic required. So technician, and we were talking about training yesterday with our friends, you need now proper training to be ready in the future, which is not new, but you will have to work more and more on training in the future. So this is our current slogan, and I like it because it summarizes everything. Mahle, we shape future mobility. So I think it's clear enough. Thank you very much, Danke. See you soon. If you have any questions, feel free.
There you go, sir.
Thank you. I'm going to take one of these home.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much. Into the future.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, from South Africa.
And this too. Yeah, there we
Thank
go.
you very much.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Vincent. That was very informative. Wow, sure.